So no, it's not me. It's clearly faulty. Yes, it's clearly faulty and not working well, as this is not what we are used to. So, and this was supposed to be temporary. So please expedite action. Management of the National Assembly, we are now officially complaining. The clerk, we are officially complaining. Take steps to make sure that these things are rectified, because the whole world is watching us, and this does not reflect Nigeria of today. Yes, yeah, the motion has been moved that we include women where we in the management structure, where we have a directorate for youths. There should be directorate of youths and women affairs, so that we do not include our women because of gender sensitivity. Those in support of the amendment say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, Senator Sani, where is it? You know, I thought you wanted to say something.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Mohammed Sani Musa, Niger East Senatorial District. Your Excellency, this bill, I have seen that there are a lot of discrepancies and a lot of changes that are coming in it. Why not we revert it back to the committee so that the committee will do proper work and then return it. Then we can work.
The essence of our being here is to do what we are doing. We note the president has just established a ministry of regional development, and therefore we are going to amend all the regional development agencies that we earlier set up. So if you look, the South is taking the lead now, and so we are doing a surgical operation, and then we will now take the Northwest, the North Central, the Southwest, mutatis mutandis. So if you don't do this now, you will still have to do it again, even if you were to send it back to any committee. So we look at Senator Plank. If your people do not want your name to stay there, and they are after you, please allow you to drop. we recognize you, and God recognizes you. Then this one, clause 11 is referring to advisory committee made up of our governors in the region and two persons to join the governors as may be determined from time to time by Mr. President. I think this is in order. Those in support of clause 11 as stated say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. In part 4, staff of the commission, there shall be in 12, page 7, there shall be for the commission a managing director and 2 executive directors who shall be indigenous of the South states and shall rotate amongst the member states. We have already agreed that this should be changed to 5. So it means that this will now be 5 executive directors and 1 managing directors who shall be indigenous of the South states. The clerk, have you noted it? Their qualifications shall be as determined by the Nigerian Constitution, of course, and then, of course, their integrity shall be as adjudged in the opinion of the appointee or of the appointer, who happens to be the president. So clause 12 1 2 as amended to include 5 executive directors and 1 managing director. Those in support of the amendment say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes.
Executive Secretary of the Commission.
No, that word is not there. Is it there?
Yes.
Yes. So the Senator Kaka move a motion to remove the executive secretary because you already have managing director. Yes. So please.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Kakashew Lawan, Borno North, Borno Central. I am trying to take over Mongono because it's not easy. Mr. President, I move that the phrase executive secretary of the commission should be deleted in part 4, page 7 of the bill. I so move, sir.
Yes. The Zulu Senator Benson Kobowe. Use your mic.
Thank you, Senator Kobowe Friday Benson, representing Bayelsa Central Senatorial District. I hereby second the motion as ably moved by the chairman.
Thank you. The motion has been moved and seconded that the word executive secretary be deleted from this bill. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So we are through with clause 12. Clause 13. Senator Kaka, please read clause 13. Read it out.
Pension Reform Act number 2 of 2004, section 13, subsection 1. Service in the commission shall be approved service for the purposes of the Pension Act. 2. The officers and...
No, it's okay.
All right.
Is that, do we agree with that?
We are already saying the bill was already saying that if the pensionable, we don't need to refer to the Pension Act in this bill.
Jesse, please approach the chair.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the mistake discovered in that clause be deleted, and so also all other clerical errors and grammatical errors and mistakes should be corrected by the Secretariat. I so move. All other in the entire bill.
Yes, so the minority leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I support this motion that has been moved by the Deputy Senate President, that all errors, typographical errors and other grammatical errors be corrected by the Secretariat. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, 13.1. Service in the commission shall be approved service for the purposes of the Pensions Act the Deputy Senate President has moved that it should be service in the commission shall be as approved for the purposes of the Pensions Act, as approved for the purposes of the Pensions Act. And so the second word, service, there should be deleted, and every other error noted should be also corrected for purposes of drafting elegance. Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So let's look at clause 14 very closely. Let's look at clause 14 very closely. There shall be paid and credited to the fund established pursuant to clause 1 of the bill from the federal government the equivalent of 15% of the total monthly statutory obligations due to member states of the commission from the federation account. Those in support of clause 2.1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Then clause 2B, 3%. Clause 2C, 3%. Clause 14.2B, C, D. So for the purposes of the amendment to funding of the other developmental agencies, we do not want it to be nebulous or ambiguous. And therefore, we have accepted clause 14.2b, 2a, which says that it will come from 15% of monies due to the member states of the commission. Equivalence of the statutory allocation. Then for it's clear.
What is meant here for clarity is that this money shall be appropriated by the federal government to these commissions of sums not less than or amounting to 15% of
statutory.
Yes, of the total statutory revenue going to the states.
To the member states. That's clear. No, that's very clear. But if there is any other person who wants further clarification, the person should go to court. Since we only make laws, we don't interpret. Senator Biggie, are you looking at me? Thank you for your support. I know you're a good man.
Is that constitutional?
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Yes, distinguished senator. Yeah.
Is it constitutional?
It's constitutional. It's because the money still belongs to the state. Let me explain.
But unless you amend the constitution.
No, I'm saying that for the purpose of funding the developmental regional commissions, that it will be from 15% of statutory allocations of their states.
The states.
That's all.
Well, but
so we don't want to.
If the states object and take the federal government to court.
Is what? Please let him say something.
It's not so. This thing is something that has been in practice. It's being used by the North Development Commission. They calculate 15% of statutory allocation that goes to each of the states, put them together. That equivalent is what will be appropriated in the Supplementary Appropriation Act of every year. It's not their money that we are taking, no. It's federal government's money. No, it's an equivalence of the money. Equivalence of the money.
Are you questioning the establishment of the Northeast Development Commission? Because this is what is in the act.
Maybe the Development Commission was passed into law, I think, on the pressure of the emotional issues. Let's be frank with each other. At that time, around the insurgency that was raging on at that time. And this led to a general consensus that there needs to be an institution that should go in to ensure the rehabilitation of the devastation that was taken on in that place. I'm not denigrating the need for these commissions. Let them go there, but we should know it, that in the long run, some of these states, maybe not now, are likely going to go to court to challenge the seizure of their money. Their money. You can say whatever you want to say, because you want to have regional development commission. What? They have their money. Is it from the federation account? Or is it from the federation account? Are you taking it from the federation account?
It's not from consolidated revenue fund. Excuse me. Can I explain to you? No. Can I explain to you? Now, what is being said here is that the equivalence of money going to each state, 15% or will now be put together. Not the money itself. The equivalent of that money will now, excuse me. Then that template will be used in appropriation you do here, and the president, when bringing the bill for appropriation bill every year, you put that in the appropriation bill, and then you pass it here from consolidated revenue fund, not from the federation account.
Distinguished colleagues, why do we even talk when we have the Constitution? The Constitution is very clear. What Senator Yahya mentioned was a constitutional observation. So I'll read. Section 162, subsection 4 says, any amount standing to the credit of the states in the federation account shall be distributed among the states on such terms and in such manner as may be prescribed by the National Assembly. So even if you were talking about money in the Federation account or the Consolidated Revenue account, it cannot be done in line with the prescription of the National Assembly, and this is the National Assembly. So we are not arguing with anybody. The Constitution gives us the power to appropriate money from Consolidated Revenue account or from Federation account. So nobody's arguing. Nobody's saying you cannot go to court. But don't forget that every kobo will be as through a law made by the National Assembly. So we are making a law. If signed by Mr. President, just like it was done in the Northeast Development Commission, it becomes an act of parliament and must be obeyed. So there's no. And like the Deputy Senate President said, it is not even money from the states. It's not money from the states. It's just a percentage of what the states ought to have that the federal government will now appropriate to those developmental agencies.
Maybe you make for clarity. This money from
the civil senator, you may wish to.
I don't want to be a pest on this issue, but I'm just giving you a warning shot. So that in the future, when this thing comes up and the states go to court, all these commissions are going to go down. Thank you, Mr. President.
But you were not sitting down. I noticed you were standing. I noticed you were standing. But I thought you were talking about the Baburu. So you were not sitting down when you were talking. Yeah, so in order to bring more clarity, can you, Deputy Senate President, can you,
Let me recount that. In order to make it more clearer, let me recount that clause to read as follows. There shall be paid from the
Senator Kaka, please note, jot down.
There shall be paid from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the federal government and credited to the fund established pursuant to subclause 1 of the bill from the federal government, the equivalent of 15% of the total monthly statutory allocation due to member states of the Commission from the Federation account. So, I think it's more clear now. Yes. Are you okay now?
Can somebody?
Yes.
Can somebody second?
Yes.
Can somebody second the amendment?
Yes.
Senator, there's a motion has been moved. A motion has been moved by the Deputy Senate President that we concentrate on the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, so that it does not appear as if the monies are coming from the states and state allocations. So, Senator Asukwa.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Asukwa Koyam, Cross River South. I rise to second the motion as ably put by the Deputy Senate President.
What was the motion?
The motion is that 15% of the revenue will be the contribution from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the federal government. Equivalent
to 15%.
Allocation.
Thank you for that elucidation. That would mean that you are a former Commissioner of Finance. Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved. The amendment is clear that the 15% shall be the equivalent of the statutory allocation going to member states and shall be paid to these commissions. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Actually, the reason why this is clearer is I want to thank the Civil Senator Abdul Kadir Yahya, Abdul Yahya, the leader, SY leader of the Senate. Your observation has been taken care of now. Yeah. So yes. So we've noted it, and we thank you for bringing it up. And now the way it is put now is much more elegant and it's clear. So anybody who has any observation can make later. But let's conclude. Senator Kaka, because we believe strongly that if you look at subsection 14.2 B, C, D, talking about 3% of annual budget of oil companies, 3% of total annual budget of solid minerals, 50% of money due to ecological funds or members. Those things will be confusing, and any additional tax on the oil companies will discourage investment in that sector. So I think we should delete all that, and then rather leave monies raised by the commission by way of gifts, by way of loans in aid, testamentary disposition or otherwise, and also the proceeds from other assets that may from time to time accrue to the commission. So in other words, F and G will be left. C, D, and E, which I believe will cause funding confusion in future and discourage investment, should be deleted. You may wish to move a motion that this be amended.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues.
Use your campaign voice.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, in view of the fact that the federal government just created a Ministry of Regional Development, thereby bringing all development commissions under one roof, and in view of the fact that section 14, paragraph 2A, paragraph B, C, D, and E are misleading, I hereby move that these subsections be deleted so that it can be mutatis mutandis with the other development commissions. I so move, sir.
Yes, the Civil Senator Amos Yohana.
Mr. President, its distinguished colleagues, Amos Yohana, I rise to second the motion as ably moved by my distinguished chair. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, an amendment has been made to section 2, section 14, subsection 2, B, C, D. That they be expunged from the bill. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Therefore, section 14 is hereby approved as amended. Section 15, section 16, section 17, section 18, section 19. Those who support that the aforementioned sections form part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Section 20 here requires that the board shall prepare and submit to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria not later than 30th June in each year a report in such form as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria may direct. on the activities of the Commission during the preceding year and shall include in the report a copy of the audited accounts of the Commission for that year and the auditor's report. And the President shall then cause a copy of such report to be submitted to the National Assembly. You may wish to. Section 21, those in support say aye, those against say nay. Section 22 will need amendment. I don't see the need to send the report to Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative since it has nothing to do with solid minerals. Somebody may wish to move that we amend that section to remove the President, mandating the President to submit such report to the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative. Senator Kaga, have you seen it? It should be enough to submit the report to and the audited report. To each house of the National Assembly. Full stop. Can you move for the amendment so that we delete Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative? But this has nothing to do with mining or exploitation of resources, mineral resources.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Kakashi Ulawan, Borno Central, I stand to move that we delete sending the report to Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative from section 20, paragraph 2 of the bill. I so move, sir.
The Civil Senator Shehu Buba. The Civil Senator Shehu Buba.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Okay, my name is Senator Shehu Buba Umar, representing Bauchi South. I stand to second the amendments as the section 22. I hereby second. Thank you, sir.
Distinguished colleagues, Senator Shehu Buba has seconded the motion that we delete Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative from the receiving agencies of the audited report from Mr. President. Those in support of the motion as moved and seconded say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So the clerk of the Senate, please note that that area has been deleted. Section 21, I have a problem with that. It will become nebulous. It will cause confusion since we now have a Ministry of Regional Development. There will be no need for us to have a monitoring committee because the President oversees the ministry and we oversight the ministry. So having a separate committee of persons to monitor what this commission will be doing should be deleted. You agree with me? So can somebody move a motion for us to delete that, Senator Oshomole?
I move that that section, Mr. President, referred to be deleted.
Senator Garaga.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion
ably moved by Senator Oshomole. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, a motion has been moved and seconded that in view of the current realities whereby a minister shall oversee the activities of the various geopolitical development commissions in the country, that the entirety of section 21 creating a monitoring committee should be deleted from the bill. Those in support of the motion as moved and seconded say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. So the clerk of the Senate, the entirety of that section is deleted. So there will be a minister to monitor the agencies, and then there is already a National Assembly to oversight the ministry and by implication the agencies. Section 22. Those in support of section 22 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And you renumber it since the entirety of section 21 is gone. Section 22 will now become section 21. That motion had already been moved by the Deputy Senate President and carried by the entirety of the Senate. Please let this senator that one, but please no. Let them know that this other senate is still in session. So that other senate should tone down their voice, their voices. Okay, you are the other senate. Okay. This section 23, when I read it earlier, I had a slight problem with it. So let me just point out my worry, and then if you wish, you can retain it. Section 23, subsection 2, is saying, notwithstanding anything contained in any other law or enactment, no lawsuit shall lie against any member of the board, the managing director, or any other officer or employee of the commission for any act done in pursuance or execution of this bill, or any other law or enactment, or of any public duty or authority, or in respect of any alleged neglect or default in the execution of this bill, or such law or enactment, duty or authority, where an officer commits fraud, that officer should be held accountable. This clause tends to create immunity and will allow for impunity, and that's my observation. But if it is the view of the Senate that it will be allowed to stay, will go ahead. But if it is Senator Sitangu, what do you say? Because it creates immunity from fraud, immunity from negligence of duties, immunity from incompetence or incompetent execution of the duties of the commission. Those things should be dealt with.
Yeah, Mr. President, I don't think this Senate should pass any bill that will create immunity to any official of the government. It will encourage corruption. Thank you, Mr. President.
So, this is Senator Shumale.
Mr. President, I rise to support that. I'm not even sure of the constitutionality. This Senate cannot confer immunity on anyone. And therefore, the entire section 23 should be deleted. Sorry, 23 subsection 2 should be deleted, please. Thank you, sir.
So, in other words, however, section 23(1), so Jabaibe, you have it in your front? Section 23(1). So the big give him to read. My problem was with section 23(2). It's on page 12. It seems to create immunity. So if we must invoke the Public Officers Protection Act, Cap P41, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, I think we should just leave it as section 23 simpliciter. We should not go ahead to say notwithstanding, because notwithstanding whatever is contained in any law in the Federation, anything that any officer of the Commission does is cannot be legislated upon, or cannot be, the person cannot be sued for even incompetent execution. So we should leave 2 in totality. So any seconder to the motion moved by Senator Oshumole that we leave section 23 only and leave 23(2) A and B, so that we do not create unnecessary immunity against fraud, and people should be held accountable for their actions. Any person to second the amendment? Senator Haruna, Deputy Governor Emeritus.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Haruna Mano. I represent the good people of Taraba Central, and I second that as proposed, the amendment, I support the proposed amendment, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. The amendment has been made and seconded that the entirety of section 23(2) A and B be deleted from the bill. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So people should be held accountable for their actions. Clause 24. Carried, right? Those in support of clause 24 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. I have a problem with section 25. When the judgment is given by the court and somebody refuses to obey, the court may issue consequential orders. But section 25(1) is saying in any action or lawsuit against the commission, no execution or attach, well, I'm sure what they meant here was to say attachment. targeting or processes of any nature shall be issued against the Commission. I don't think that is correct. The Commission should take care and be diligent enough to obey court orders. You should obey the law. You can't be making law, and again, this tends to create unnecessary immunity, because they should be wary of the fact that there could be consequences for any action they do, and they must be guided by the laws of the Federation of Nigeria. This is even unconstitutional, in my view. So Kaka, Section 2. I hope this is not contained in all the other laws.
Sir, you know the difficulty we have here is this. This law was initially passed by the House.
It was passed by the House?
Yes, and sent to
but this is the Senate now.
That's why we are leaving it open for the Senate to discuss. You know, we have discussed it at the committee level. No, but we felt we bring it here for each and every member to control.
What we are doing now.
Yes, sir.
Probably the House passed thinking that the needful had been done.
That's true.
But why we are wasting time is to use it as a template for the amendments that we are about to undertake.
Yes, sir.
In all the other developmental commissions.
Yes, sir.
Particularly in view of the current realities. You understand?
I agree, sir.
So we will definitely send what we are doing here back to the House.
Yes, sir.
For concurrence.
Yes, sir.
So move a motion for us to delete Section 25.
Mr. President, Kakasho Lawan Borno Central, I move that Section 25 of the bill be deleted. I move, sir.
Yes. Distinguished. Any seconder? Yes, Senator Blanc.
President of the Senate, my colleagues, I'm Senator Dicket Blanc. I rise to second the motion moved by Senator Kaka that Section 25 should be removed. I so second.
In fact, if you further look at Section 25(2), you'll see slight confusion that any sum of money which may be the judgment debt from any court awarded against the Commission shall, subject to any direction given by the court where notice of appeal of the judgment has been given, be paid from the general reserve fund of the Commission. So Section 25(1), those who support that Section 25(1) be deleted say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who support that clause 25 sub 2 now becomes clause 25 simpliciter. Those in support of clause 25, that monies through judgment debts should be paid from the reserve funds of the Commission, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Because they must pay. They must obey the law. They must obey the courts. So this one, indemnity of officers. Clause 26, those who support that it be returned say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The commission may, with the approval of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, make regulations generally for the purposes of giving full effect to this bill. They can't make regulations. They are not, those who support that clause 27 stated herein should not form part of the bill. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So clause 27 is deleted. Clause 28. Those who support that clause 28 be retained. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So Senator Kaka, if you look at clause 28, the leader is not here. Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate. This is where that my observation comes in. In the explanatory note here, chairman in this bill means the chairman of the board. But we also refer to chairman of management being the managing director. Do you understand? So we must find a way in the drafting, guide them properly. Because the managing director shall be the head of the management team. I know if you say chairman of the management and chairman of the management committee, yes. But here chairman means chairman of the board. Say something.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President, sitting as chair. You have raised a very significant, you have made a very significant observation. The purport of what you have observed, Mr. Chairman, is that we cannot use the word chairman twice. If in the explanatory memorandum or in the interpretation clause, we are going to be saying the word chairman shall mean the chairman of the governing board. So it means we cannot use the word chairman twice.
Exactly.
So for the management, it's either we use the word head. The managing director shall be the head of the management committee.
Exactly.
And let it be so with all the bills that were passing in this regard.
Yes. Senator Kaka, you hear what he said? He's saying that because the interpretation clause says that the word chairman in this bill shall refer to the chairman of the board, that we therefore have to go back to look at where we say chairman of management and then delete the word chairman and use the word head of the management team. Do you understand? To avoid ambiguity, because tomorrow somebody can look at the interpretation and say I'm chairman of the management, because anywhere you refer to chairman means chairman of the board, and that will cause conflict. Already I know one of the commission's area set up, they even put it there that every contract shall be signed by the chairman. But I know that what they actually, yes, it's so in NDDC Act. I know what they actually meant was that every contract should also be co-signed by the managing director. But there they say chairman, which means that while the chairman is on a part-time basis and the other board members except the executive directors are on part-time basis, what it means is that any contract in that commission, wherever the chairman is, you must look for him to come and sign. So the clerk of the Senate has redrafted that section that we earlier passed, that it means that the managing director shall be the head of the management committee. Head of the management committee. No, you have the head of the management committee. You also have chairman of the board. That's why they call it management committee. Management committee consists of 5. Senator Babangida, management committee consists of 5 executive directors and 1 managing director. So he should be the head of the management team. Not the word chairman. So that we bring it in line with the interpretation clause that says, in this bill, wherever you refer to the word chairman, you are talking about chairman of the board. Yes, management committee should be interpreted to mean the 5 executive directors and the managing director. Then just slide, Senator Kaka, slide error. Board means Senator Benson, just a slight amendment here, that the board means the government board. No, it should be the governing board. Have you seen it? Huh? Okay. So, clause 28 as amended. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 29. Those in support that it be returned say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. I have problem with the supplementary provision 2 that says that the quorum of the board shall be made up of the chairman or any person presiding, and the quorum of any committee of the commission shall be determined by the board. Okay, it's okay. Those in support of the supplementary provision say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Explanatory memorandum. Those in support of the explanatory memorandum say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So let me thank the committee and thank our members, the distinguished senators, for wasting time to do a good job, for spending time to do an elegant job. You have done the right thing, because this will outlive us. So it is important that we leave behind an act of parliament that will be respected by future generations and will not bring confusion. Instead, will bring development to Nigeria. So I thank all of you for your diligence, for your observations, and for your contributions. Yes, Senator Kaka, the second one was the amendment to the Northwest Development Commission. Point of order, the leader.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, very distinguished colleagues, I rise pursuant to Order 8 of 3 of our rules to move for extension of time to enable us see beyond 3 p.m.
Minority leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I support the motion that the Senate extends time to enable the Senate to complete items on the order paper. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do extend the time to enable us conclude all the items on the order paper. Those in support of the motion that move and seconded say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The time is hereby extended. Yes, the report of the Committee on Special Duties for the Southeast Development Commission and report of the Committee on Special Duties for the Northwest Development Commission, report of the Committee on Special Duties for the Southwest, Northeast, Northwest, North Central, and of course, South South have been done. Amendment of the Southeast, amendment of the Southwest, and amendment of the Northwest Development Commissions. Yes, move the motion.
Mr. Chairman, President sitting as chair, I move that due to the diligent work that was done in processing the South-South Development Commission bill, and in view of the fact that the entire bills stand on the same principle and objective of bringing development to the various zones of this country, I therefore move that all areas be amended should go mutatis with what applies in the North South Development Commission bill. I so, yeah, all the rest, Northeast, Northwest, North Central, Southeast, and all of them. I don't need to mention all of them.
In particular, the representation by other geopolitical zones.
In particular, the representation clause in other political zones.
By other geopolitical zones.
Everything should be adopted in line with what was passed for the South-South Commission Development Commission bill. I so move.
Yes, Senator Dan Kwambo.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Ibrahim Dankombo Hassan. I rise to second the motion ably moved by the DSP that all the laws be harmonized in the same way because they carry the same jurisdiction. I so second. Thank you.
Thank you for even the injection of the word harmonization. Those in support that the other developmental commissions be hereby amended or are hereby amended in the same way as we have treated the South-South Development Commission. Say aye. And those again say nay. The ayes have it. Mutatis mutandis. Let me thank my colleagues for a wonderful job done. One of the observations earlier made was that the Northwest Development Commission, which Mr. President signed into an act of parliament, did not make provision for representation by other geopolitical zones. It was just South or Northwest Development Commission alone. And then also the Southeast Development Commission, which Mr. President signed into an act of parliament, had conflicting provisions about 3% funding from oil companies, this social percentage from ecological fund, this and that. So those things will lead to confusion. And because the Niger Delta Development Commission is already there and is collecting 3% for oil exploration and exploitation, there will be no need for a zonal commission that does not have oil to go back to the same oil companies and demand 3%. Otherwise, it will be a disincentive to investment in the oil sector. So those things are hereby amended with this omnibus resolution of the Senate today. So it is now incumbent on the Committee on Special Duties, working closely with the management, particularly the clerk of the Senate, to make sure that those things are fine-tuned, and then we represent them from Mr. President to ensure uniformity and harmonization as suggested by Senator Dangwambo. I thank distinguished colleagues for a wonderful job. It's not time wasted, but it is time well spent, so that we can leave behind workable and functional legislations for future generations. Leader of the Senate. So I put the question. Huh? So those who support that the South-South Development Commission Establishment Bill be approved as amended today, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. It is hereby established the South-South Development Commission Bill, which when signed by Mr. President will become an act of Parliament. So those who support the Northwest Development Commission and the Northeast and the North, Southeast and Southwest Development Commission be amended mutatis mutandis as stated in the South-South Development Commission today, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So all the amendments reflected here in today in the South-South will now be taking mutatis mutandis for elegance and uniformity, conformity, and harmonization. I thank my colleagues. Distinguished Leader of the Senate, you may wish to take over.
Thank you, Mr. President, sitting as chair. Thank you, distinguished colleagues. I rise to move that the Senate now revert back to plenary to enable the chairman to report progress. I so much.
The minority leader.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, I second the motion that the Senate reverse to plenary to enable the chair report progress. I second.
Distinguished colleagues, the leader has moved and it is seconded by the minority leader that this August Assembly do revert to plenary to enable the chair report progress. Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We revert to plenary to report progress. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Special Duties on the establishment of the South-South Development Commission Establishment Bill 2024 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Clauses 1 as recommended, 2 as recommended, 3 as recommended, 4 as recommended, 5 to 8 as recommended, Clause 9 as amended, Clause 10 as amended, Clause 11 as amended, Clause 12 deleted, Clause 13 to 14 as amended, Clause 15 yes as recommended, Clause 20 as amended, Clause 21 deleted, Clause 22 as recommended, Clause 23 as recommended, rather as amended, Clause 24 as recommended, Clause 25 as amended, Clause 26 as recommended, Clause 27 deleted. Interpretation Clause 28 as amended. Short title Clause 29 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the committee of the whole? Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the committee of the whole considered the report of the Committee on Special Duties on the Northwest Development Commission Act 2024 Amendment Bill 2024 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Number of clauses 1 to 6 as recommended. Interpretation clause nil. Short title clause 7 as recommended. Clause the schedules as stated therein. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Clauses in respect of compositions by other geopolitical zones as stated and amended. Funding processes as amended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the committee of the whole? Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the committee of the whole considered the report of the Committee on Special Duties on the Southeast Development Commission Act 2024 Amendment Bill 2024 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Number of clauses 1 to 2 as recommended. Interpretation clause nil. Short title clause 3 as recommended. Funding processes in the Act as amended. Composition of the governing board as amended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the committee of the whole? Leader of the Senate. Yes, you may wish to move a motion for the South-South Development Commission Establishment Bill to be read a third time. Take it one by one. Take them one by one.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the three bills that we just concluded deliberation on be read for the third time in sequence, being first the South-South Development Commission Establishment Bill, the Northwest Development Commission Act Amendment Bill, and the Southeast Development Commission Act Amendment Bill in those order, Mr. Chairman. I so move.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I support the motion that the bills under consideration be read a third time. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that the aggregated bills taken by this August Assembly be read a third time, jointly and severally. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The clerk of the Senate, you will read them one after the other.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the South-South Development Commission charged with the responsibility to receive and manage funds from the Federation account allocation and other sources, donations, grants, aids for the integration, development, resolution of infrastructural deficits, militancy, communal crisis, as well as tackle ecological, environmental problems, and for related matters 2024, third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Northwest Development Commission Act 2024 to provide for geopolitical representation in the governing board of the Commission and for other related matters thereto 2024, third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Southeast Development Commission Act 2024 and for other related matters thereto 2024, third reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the South-South Development Commission charged with the responsibility to receive, to manage funds from the Federation account, from the Consolidated Revenue account of the Federation, and other sources, donations, grants, aids for the integration, for the development, resolution of infrastructure deficits, tackling of militancy, communal crisis, as well as tackling of ecological and environmental issues, and for related matters 2024. Third reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the South-South Development Commission charged with the responsibility to receive and to manage funds from the Consolidated Revenue Fund and from the Federation account allocations and other sources, donations, grants, aids for the integration, for the development, for the resolution of infrastructural deficit, for the resolution of militancy, communal crisis, as well as tackling of ecological and environmental issues, and for related matters 2024, third reading taken and passed. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend various sections of the Northwest Development Commission Act 2024 to provide particularly for geopolitical balancing in representation on the governing board of the Commission and for other matters related to 2024. Third reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Northwest Development Commission Act 2024 to provide for geopolitical balancing and other sections in the governing board of the commission and related matters dealt to 2024, third reading taken and passed. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Southeast Development Commission Act 2024 and for other related matters dealt to 2024. Third reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Southeast Development Commission Act 2024 and for other matters related dealt to 2024. Third reading taken and passed. Leader of the Senate. May I commend the chairman of Special Duties Committee, distinguished Senator Kagashew Lawal, for a wonderful job, and commend my colleagues, distinguished senators, for their painstaking efforts in taking clause-by-clause amendments and clause-by-clause diligent and elegant passage of the South-South Development Commission Act and the amendment of the various provisions contained in the Northwest Development Commission, particularly the provision allowing for geopolitical representation in the Northwest Development Commission, and also the funding of the various North-Southeast Development Commission, and then the deleting and removal of taxable burden on oil companies or mining companies that would have tended to discourage investment or inhibit investment, and then passing laws today that will stand the test of time. I thank you all for your contributions and your diligence, and I pray that these commissions, now under the Ministry of Regional Development, will augur well and bring development closer to the grassroots of this country, and then help Mr. President in the Renewed Hope agenda program that he has for this country for the betterment of all. I thank you, and may God bless all of you. Announcement. This is to remind distinguished senators that the burial of the father of our colleague, distinguished Senator Tony Woye, comes up tomorrow at Nsube in Anambra State. The stated time is 10 o'clock. I urge all members to endeavor to attend in solidarity with our dear colleague and as a matter of respect to the deceased father. So, the official delegation will be led by the minority leader. No, the Senate leader, you are going? Okay, Deputy Senate President will lead the delegation. Am I right? If you have made up your mind, otherwise the minority leader will lead the delegation. But every senator will endeavor to attend. So this one is committee of the whole. So it's not that I won't mention names of the members of the delegation. We have set up the Senate Committee on Reparations, and we are now populating it, and any member is free to indicate interest to join that committee. But for now, Senator Ned Nwoko will be the chairman, and the senior Senator Abbas Aminu will be the vice chairman. Senator Tony Woye will be the member. Senator Isa Jibril, member. Senator Sabi Yao, member. Senator Wasu Eshiloku will be member. Senator Panigo will be member. Senator Niyi Adebumire, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, will be a member. Senator Ambassador Ahmed Naidari will be member. Senator Ahmad Lawan will be member. Senator Jaribe
Jaribe, remember Senator Folabi Tribal, remember Senator Ireti Kingibe, remember Senator Ashiru, Senator Ashiru, is it Senator Ashiru? Which, Oyola, you will be a member. Senator, this is Senator Barrett will be there. This is Senator Mbeki, will be there. Any other senator, we have so far about 16 then, but I think we should have up to 25. Because this has a lot to do with foreign representation. So please, if you are interested in serving in this committee, indicate interest. I may even serve in the same committee because I know the capacity of Senator Networking. Before you know it, you would have brought billions back to Nigeria. So this committee stands. The Senate Committee on Livestock Development, Senator Musa Mustafa is chairman. The Senator Nengi Abdul Ahmed will be vice chairman. The Senator Binus Yaro will be member. The Senator Agadaga Benson Sunday will be member. The Senator Lawan Kakashewu will be member. The Senator Abdulhamid Maidore, remember. The Senator Zango Dara, remember. The Senator Shako Yaro Anthony, remember. The Senator Hussein Babangida, remember. The Senator Tutude Yunus Abedu, remember. The Senator Andrew Okalo, remember. The Senator Solomon Olamireko, remember. The Senator Dixon Siriaki Henry, remember. The Senator Adetubumba Amiro Mokal, remember. The Senator Sasso Plan Dicket, remember. The Senator Etim Basi Adeka, remember. The Senator Ane Anthony Kure, remember. The Senator Adam Oshimole, remember. The Senator Jimekuta David, remember. The Senator Ibrahim Mohammed Bomai, remember. The Senator Sani Musa Mohammed, remember. The Senator Simon Lalong, remember. The Senator Mohammed Tahir Onkunu, remember. The Senator Babajide Ibisaba, remember. The Senator Cyril Fasiki, remember. The Senator Joel Lowako, remember. And any other senator that wishes to serve in this livestock development committee should please indicate interest. Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that we step down the other items or the other paper, the another legislative day, to enable our colleagues who have committee meetings and other legislative activities, as well as those of them who need to catch flights to attend the various official assignments that were given to them to be able to proceed. And pursuant to that, Mr. President, I will be moving that this Senate be adjourned till Tuesday, the Mr. President, it's actually tough at this point to pronounce the adjournment because it is beyond our sitting period of 3 p.m. So I guess I've done my own by.
Yes, minority leaders.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that the Senate step down the other items of the order paper for the next legislative day. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, in view of the mood of the Senate, the leader of the Senate has moved that we step down the remaining items on our order paper to another legislative date. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Just before we adjourn, I'd like to mention that there is a meeting of all heads of parliament, speakers, Senate presidents that will take place in Ghana on Saturday by 9 a.m. this Saturday. So I've been invited and I would like to be there. So it's, and they're also proposing that since the heads of parliament's proposition will come to stay, that Nigeria should probably host the secretariat. That is one of the items that they will discuss there. But we don't have the resources to do so. That's actually an executive decision. So we'll take it up with the president to find out if he will be interested in hosting it, particularly since ECOWAS Commission is already hosted here. So the heads of parliaments in Africa meeting proposal to host here. We'll give it to the Attorney General to look at the agreement, the draft agreement they sent to us. This will take place between Saturday and Tuesday next week. But, I hope if it is convenient, I'll be there. And any senator that wishes to accompany the Senate President can indicate and do so. In the meantime, the Senate is hereby adjourned to Tuesday, the 29th day of October 2024 at 11 a.m. prompt.